Alright, so the first thing you want to do is open up your After Effects. When you first open up, there should be a button called New Composition. So you click on that, and in your composition settings, hold on. In your composition settings, your width and your height should be 1920 by 1080. I like to use the frame rate 24. Your duration doesn't really matter. You could set it to however you like, however long your montage wants to be. And your background color should be black, doesn't matter as well, and then you just press OK. The next thing you want to do is press Control I on your keyboard, go to your downloads, find whatever music you want to do. I already have mine imported, and that's going to be the same thing with your clips. Find out where your clips are located. You could do them individually by opening up the folder, click on one clip and pressing import, or if you have a set folder for them, you could just click on the folder and press import folder right here. Now what you want to do is you want to drag your music onto the timeline, and so this is going to be the song that I'm going to use.
The air cloud.
Obviously, I do not want to start at the beginning, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it to the left by holding down on it with my left mouse button and just continue dragging it to wherever I feel like. So it'll give me, like, I don't know, a few seconds doing that. It's going to be sped up, of course. Alright, so I have found out where I want to start my song at. So it's going to start right about here. And yeah, you could get the rest from there. But now what you want to do is you want to find your sync points. I have a keybind already set to make these custom sync points, so let me just make one right now. So it would look like this. You could probably find a keybind, or I'm just going to put on the screen like what you want to do to make these custom sync points. But that's just besides the point right now. So I'm gonna find my sync points, and then I'll let you know how it's gonna be. Alright, so I have found my main sync points. So in both of my clips, I'm gonna use my ramp clip first, and what that's gonna look like is the first kill is gonna be on this sync beat right here. Then the second one is gonna be right here, and then I'll cut the clip out, sorry, and then I'm gonna drag my red zone clip or mini RZ, whatever you want to call it, and then the last kill should be right about here, hopefully. If not, then I just need to make some readjustments. That's all it is. It's just trial and error with syncing your beats. And yeah, now I'm gonna drag my clips in onto the timeline. So first I'm gonna drag my ramp clip, and if you want to disable the audio on that, towards like the left of the screen you're gonna see this little eye, and then right next to it is the volume button. But you have to make sure that you click it on your video layer. Should be blue, or if you have a different color, doesn't really matter, cyan, blue, whatever color you want to call it. So you click on that, and then the audio is gone. So now what you want to do is you want to do the same thing with your audio. You could hold down on your left mouse button, drag it to the left, find out where you want to start it. This clip's kind of bad because I have the NVIDIA shadow play in the corner, but obviously this is just an example type of edit, so to me it doesn't really matter that much. So I'm going to find out where I want to start it. So I'm going to start it right about here. Hopefully it should be synced on the first beat on its own. If not, then it's okay. And if you want to make your pre-render resolution faster, I should have stated this in the start, but oh well, just one take. Down here where it says the word, well, for you it's going to say the word half, but for me it already says quarter. Next to the red, green, and blue, if you click on it, there should be auto, full, half, third, quarter, just these custom options or whatever. What you want to do is you want to press quarter. This makes it 1/4 of the resolution that it's going to be displayed at. So I'm going to play my clip back, and hopefully it should be synced on its own. So it's not, but if I want to, then I could just drag the clip back, whatever, and then make it so the kill effect is on the beat. And then yeah, I could do whatever I want from there. And if you want to trim the clip at the end, all you got to do is go to the end of the clip, whatever, and then just press Control Shift and D. and delete the top layer, and boom. But that's not it, obviously. So now, this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky, because velocity is probably one of the hardest things to learn as a beginner, at least to me. So, So what you want to do is you want to right click on your clip, go under time, and there should be the word saying enable time remapping. You want to click on that, and now on your layer, the video layer, it should say, like, there should be a blue clock, a little graph thing, time remap, and then the seconds on where you started at. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my first keyframe, usually at the start, and then on the first sync beat, it should be my kill effect, or I could go really in depth and then find out where the kill effect actually happens. But I had it right before, so it's on. This is like where it starts at. It's kind of specific, but it doesn't really matter. Alright, if you want to slow down your kill, what you could do is you could go a few frames forward by pressing M6, or you could go as far as you want. Doesn't really matter. It just matters on where your sync points are. Sorry. And you just make a keyframe right here. It's next to the filled in white arrow and the filled in left arrow and the filled in right arrow. In the middle there should be a diamond. If you don't see that, then if you press U on your keyboard to show all the keyframes, then you should see it. Yours should look like this if you didn't make a keyframe already, and if you did, then it should be a blue color. I just have a custom color. So now I could just go a few frames back as much as I desire, just to see like a little bit of movement or whatever. I'm just gonna make it so it's kind of like where my flick off happens or whatever, maybe like right about here. Once the kill effect starts to fade away, that's when the slowdown should stop. And then I'm gonna go to the second kill point, and I'm gonna mark down the second kill. So I'm just gonna go forward, find out where it is. Just to do that, hold down on your left click and then just drag it. Kind of whiff over here, but doesn't really matter. And boom, right there. I went just a little bit forward. So there you go. That's where my kill effect is. And then same thing again. Just go forward, find out where your kill effect stops. So I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, so I have found basically everything I needed to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it back for you, and hopefully it should look somewhat decent, fine, and yeah. So, this is one thing that I noticed already. I got the kill, speeds up like mad. And I haven't even enabled, this button right here, the graph editor. Because look, if I go in here by pressing time remap, press this button, I cannot move these graphs at all. So I cannot control anything. But still, this still looks odd to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue readjusting, and I'll let you know how that looks after I do a little bit of readjusting. Just by moving the keyframe, by the way, just by moving it. And one additional thing, you could also find different sync points by matching to the beat itself, which is what I did. But there are other key components in rhythm, like just examples being hi-hats, snare, drum, like literally anything can work as a sync beat. You just have to add the effects or anything just to make it look somewhat nice. Alright, so just by adding 2 more sync beats on the first kill, looks, I guess, a little bit 10 times better. So I'm going to play it back for you, and I'm going to show you how it looks just by changing the keyframes, doing whatever I felt like doing. And yeah, that's how it looks. Linear, no graph, no nothing. But now what you want to do is you want to... Actually, wait, let me figure out where to end this. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Alright, so I figured out how to technically end this. But one last thing I'm going to teach y'all is whenever you end your clips, what I like to do in 24 FPS is this is what a lot of other editors do as well. If you press, if you go 3 frames forward by pressing page down, if you have a TKL keyboard, 1, 2, 3, then make a keyframe and just drag it to the right. Go as far as you want because I'm going to show y'all the graph I'm going to use for this example. Alright, to enable easy ease or graphing, literally whatever you want to call it, hold down on your left mouse button and drag to the left to highlight every single one of your keyframes. Then you could either right click, keyframe assistant, right click, go into keyframe assistance and easy ease it, or you could press F9. Alright, so I have easy eased all of my keyframes, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click one of them and go in your graph editor. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that there are a fuck ton of graphs here. So this is where your first plugin, which you could find online, whatever, comes into play. You could use this thing called Flow. You can make your own graphs in here. You can make them in here. Click on one of your graphs and just apply like that. Or what you could rather do is you could just Control Shift D to where you wanna do your graphs or whatever, and just continue doing them separate. But this is gonna be not even easier for me. This is just gonna be more convenient instead of looking through each and every single clip. Alright, so go back to your graph editor. You're gonna notice this big ass graph at the end if you didn't cut the keyframe. What you could do is go to the end of the clip if you can, and then press right here and just backspace or delete the keyframe. And yeah, and if you wanna just make it so it's not just blank screen, all you gotta do is go to the end of the clip, see the left and right arrow, hold down on your left mouse button and just drag over, and you can hold down shift to just line it up with your cursor, and boom. Actually, I'm off by 1 frame, so I'm gonna just do that. And now, opening up your graph editor again, this is where things are gonna be a little bit confusing. What you want to do is you want to change this first graph because you want to make it so it's just linear. Linear means no movement at all. This was before the easy ease, so it's just going to be a straight line. And yeah, so what you want to do is you want to click on your graph, and there are actually presets for this on the bottom of here. It literally says linear. You could literally press on it and just press apply, and now this first part is linear. The second graph you want to learn is ease. This is how your graph looks like when you F9 them for the first time, or easy ease, literally whatever. It's going to be a little bit slow at the start, then speed up, and it's going to be slow at the end. And then another graph you should know is the sharp graph, and it means it's going to be fast at the start, and then towards the end of the clip it's going to be slow. And then the other one is a build-up one. This is what you could use for effects or your pan crop. So it's going to be slow at the start, and it's going to continue ramping up, and it's going to be the fastest at the end, and yeah, it's just going to be slow to fast. Alright, so when you slow down your clips, you don't really need to make them sharp or whatever. Doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna just let it be. Actually, wait, let me just play it back. And with the speed ups, what you want to do is you want to kind of do a build up one. If you can move your graph in here, what you could do is all you want to do is click on your white square right here. There should be one. Move this yellow thing. Oh, you can hold down shift to make it straight. Let me disable caps lock, sorry. Hold down shift. You can let go of it and then drag it up just a little bit so it has a little bit of movement right here. And then this top one right here, hold down on it and just drag it down and kind of make it in line with the white line, kind of like that. So now when I play it back, so it's kind of like has a little bit of movement right here, but you don't see everything else until right here. This is where it stops. And then right here is where you kind of want to make it sharp. So to make a sharp graph, you can't really do anything in here. Well, I mean, I can't really do anything in here is what I meant to say. So what I want to do is in flow, you guys just select anything else, doesn't really matter. You want to move this yellow thing right here, kind of like in line with this white, this gray line, sorry. And then this other one, kind of bring it down to where it's kind of touching a little bit. Now I'm going to click on this graph and just press apply. And now it's going to be sharp, but it's going to be linear. Actually, no, I'm going to change this graph up just a little bit. It's just personal preference. I'm just figuring out something that I like. So now when I play it, there we go. And you could actually copy the same graph from this one onto there. So click on your graph. And right next to these numbers or Bezier values, I don't know how to pronounce it, there's like a little white square with a little triangle thing. Click on it, read the values, click on this graph, or I'm going to click on the graph and press apply. But if it kind of looks odd, what you could do to actually see like a frame of movement, you could drag this one from down here up here so that it has just a little bit of movement towards the end, which you could actually see. And I'm going to press apply, and I'm going to play back for you. And yeah, that's how it looks. Alright, so to do basically anything else with just the rest of the clip, I'm just going to play back from the start just to see what I'm working with again. So now, this is fine where it is. What I could do again is just, I guess, make it more kind of like a build-up type of thing, because I don't want to see my cursor going away. So I'm going to apply it again, look at it back. And then with this graph, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it sharp so that it's fast. Kind of like, I guess, this fast. And just press apply again and play back. And now with this final graph, the 3 frames, it's literally going to be the same exact thing as this graph. So I'm going to click on this graph, press this thing right here, the read values, click on the last 3 frame graph or whatever you want to call it, press apply, and boom, that's just one clip done. So I'm going to play back for you to see how it looks, and yeah. So one thing that I noticed is in this clip right here, it's like it stays still for 1 frame. So what I have to do is I have to move this yellow thing up and make it a little bit more linear so that obviously you could see the movement between 2 of the frames. So now it should look like this. So I'm going to get out of my graph editor, go right here to the edge of the clip. I'm going to zoom out all the way and then drag in my RZ clip. Same thing again, find out to where the clip starts and just continue going and going and going. And I'm going to find it real quick and I'll let you know where it is. Alright, so I found out where I'm gonna start, so I already Control Shift D'd it and I enable time remapping. So I'm gonna press U on my keyboard, look at the time remap. I'm gonna find the beat that I wanted to sync to real quick. Hold on. So right here is this frame right here is where I wanted to sync to. So I'm gonna go forward, and where the kill effect pops up, I'm gonna start from there. So it should be right about here-ish. Oh, there, I found it on the dot. And to be honest with you, this part where it ends, I'm gonna highlight these two keyframes and I'm gonna move it back like 2 to 3 frames so I could actually have some type of movement on the beginning of this clip right here. So I'm gonna move this back like right about there. So there you go, that's just one beat done. So now I gotta do the rest. Give me time. I'll let you know how that goes. Alright, so I have found my other two synced beats or whatever, hit points, whatever you want to call them, and I'm gonna play it back from right here. So, this speed up part over here just kind of looks odd, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more of a slowdown right here. So, just right about there, make a keyframe, move it to the right so it has a bit of a slowdown. Then just continue going forward and have a little bit of speed right here, but I'm going to graph that, of course. So now when I play back from right here, then it should look a little bit better. Alright, so now what I want to do is, because there are more kills to this clip, if I go to the the clip in the file explorer, whatever, where I have them stored, and I double click after like literally right about here, there's even more kills right here, like 1, 2, and 3, and that's literally where the clip ends. So now what I gotta do is I gotta find out where those kills happen, and I'm gonna mark them down, and I'll let you know how that goes as well after. Alright, so all of my syncs are done. I figured out where to sync on each clip. It's kind of repetitive to the first one, but that doesn't really matter, so I'm gonna play it back now. And this is without the graph. So and yeah, that's how it looks. Now I'm gonna do the same thing again. Let me just Control Shift D at the end right here and delete. And I'm gonna get rid of this last keyframe right here. Do the same thing, highlight all of the keyframes by holding down your left mouse button and dragging to the left. And or you could do it at the start, drag it to the right, doesn't matter. You could either right click on your clips, go under keyframe assistance and easy ease, or just press F9 just to do the same exact thing. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, click on the clip, go to my graph editor. Now you're gonna see there's a big old thing at the start. If you don't have your clips trimmed, that's fine. What you're gonna do is you're gonna hold down Control on, and then on this really long white line, you're gonna see like this little pen and a plus. All you're gonna do is you're gonna click on this white line right here. Doesn't matter where. You're gonna click off, and you're gonna see this white square. Click on the line next to it, this graph right here. Just click on it, and then just delete it. And now you should be good. Shouldn't have anything in between. Doesn't matter. It just makes things easier. Now to zoom in, you could either use the mountains down here or just press plus. Doesn't matter. Same thing. You can make this part linear. It's just whatever you feel like doing. And it's the same process as last time. You can make this sharp or do the little this thing right here, the build up. And it's just whatever you feel like doing. So I'm gonna make my graphs real quick and I'm gonna explain what I did throughout the way after I'm done. Alright, I'm done with my graphs. So I'm going to play it back and just show you how that looks. And then after I play it back, I'm going to explain each graph and tell you exactly why I chose that graph and just show you from there, explain. I mean, you get it. It's just like, all right. So this first part is linear only because nothing will happen if I make it sharp or make it stop. Alright, so this first graph right here, I only made linear because nothing would change if I made it a build-up graph or sharp or literally anything else. So that's that. This one is same thing again, linear. Nothing should really change. It's just the same old graph. You could see the kill effect. Then this one is kind of the transition into the next clip or kill, whatever I'm saying, sorry. Click on the white line, I'm gonna show the values. I chose, wait, this looks odd. Wait, wait, hold on. I gotta redo that. Oops. There we go. So I chose this graph because I wanted to have a build up, but I actually want to see some of the movement, like for the last 2 frames, so I could kind of see this scoping or whatever. Actually, I'm gonna change this up just a little bit more. So there we go. Now I could see the little zoom in, scope in, whatever on here. And now when I play back, you could see it. Then this is just the same thing. Make it slow, then um, kind of have it show a little bit of movement at the end before getting the kill. And then this one I made sharp because the little tracking on that is fast, and then it's slow right here. Then the same thing again, obviously slow right here, then build up and get the kill. It's literally just the same thing over and over. This one is hella slow, so I didn't add a graph onto that. This one is just a little transition thing. I could have made linear, could have kept it, doesn't matter. Then again, same thing. The build up, same thing again, slow build up. And it's the same thing. It's literally just the same graph over and over. That's sometimes all you need because you don't want to have your sync extremely fast. Oh yeah, and then this one obviously I just made it sharp because it syncs with the word feeling. And yeah, that's basically it for the flow. Sometimes all you need is the same graph over and over. It's like doesn't matter that much if you reuse it. As long as it looks nice with your velo, then you should be fine. All right, now is where kind of the not confusing part, but like I guess well the next part I'm gonna teach is gonna kind of be easy because it's just screen pumps or whatever, and then the next part is going to be effects, which that one's going to be the hardest. Alright, so let me just disable this. To make an adjustment layer, you could either right click over here and go under new and adjustment layer, or the keybind is Control Alt Y, and boom, an adjustment layer is made. It should be purple. And now when you go under effects and presets, you're going to want to find this effect called transform. And or if you have FX console, it's another effect or plugin, whatever. It's free. You could find it online. You could just add transform, and I prefer this over like just pressing S on the keyboard and using scale. I don't know why. This just kind of looks better, kind of looks more professional. But press scale, press the little clock right here, and if you press U on your keyboard, it makes a keyframe. And now this is kind of easy because look, you could just make a keyframe to where you get your kills. So make a keyframe, go out right here, make another keyframe, make a keyframe, go right here, make another keyframe. The zoom out, kind of just have it right here. and then go here. You don't even have to make a keyframe right there. Make a keyframe right here. Actually, wait, no, you don't have to make it. It's literally personal preference, doesn't matter. Then make a keyframe right here. So on the kill, then it's gonna be a zoom out. Zoom out right there. Make a keyframe right here. Make a keyframe. Uh, make a keyframe right here. So it's in between. Make another keyframe right here. Do another zoom out. Make a keyframe. Then right here, make a keyframe. Have it zoom out. Actually, you know what? You could drag it right here. Doesn't matter. Then make a keyframe right here. Uh, actually, you know what? Make a keyframe right there, and make a keyframe right here, and yeah, make a keyframe at the end, and that's literally it. Now you have all your pan crop keyframe set up. It's just screen pumps. Gonna be hella easy. All you gotta do is change these values. I prefer using something small, like I'm gonna use 150 because this one's the first kill, because then it's gonna go back down to 100. This one, actually, let me get rid of that keyframe. You don't have to make a keyframe at every single sync point. I'm gonna make this one 125 because this one's the second kill. It's not as major. Same thing again. This one's gonna be 125. Go out 125. And this one, I'm gonna make 150 just because it's a nice tracking one. It's gonna reset back to 100. I'm gonna make this one. I'm gonna do 130 or 135. Just be a little bit different. Then this one 125. And then the last kill is gonna be kind of major one, so I'm gonna make this one 175. And I'm gonna make this last keyframe 125 because it's gonna be a nice sync. And yeah, now when I play it back, it's gonna look kind of weird. Oh well, but it's not easy eased. Look at how weird that looks. You see, it's like you can't really do anything about that. So now is where the best thing exists. Highlight all your keyframes. F9. You already know the deal. Wait, let me accidentally moved it. Go in your graph, and all it is going to be build up keyframes. Look, so you could actually drag them on here, or if you want to use flow, again, you could just do this. Doesn't matter. But you can't apply the same one, because look, so I'm just gonna come up with something right here. This. So I'm just gonna apply this, and I'm gonna play it. Now if I apply this same preset, look, it's gonna be at the end. So pan crop, you should really do all your pan crop like on the graph instead of flow, because it's gonna do the opposite when you zoom out instead of zooming in. So let me do my pan crop real quick. Shouldn't take a long time. Alright, let me play it back. Alright, that looks cool. Let me just see something. Alright, so now my pen crop is done. Wasn't that hard. It was pretty easy. So yeah. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my effects. It's gonna be kinda difficult, because if you want to find new ones to use, and then it's not like you're screwed, but yeah, it's kind of difficult finding effects to use. I'm gonna do this on the same thing as my pan crop layer. So what I'm gonna do is you could either go in here, search up the word exposure, or in here as well. It's fine. This is like the basic of the basic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right here, make a new keyframe on the exposure option, do the same thing, press U twice, and I'm gonna go like a little bit back so I have some type of build up. Gonna go right here and then do the same thing again. This should be like, wait, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It's like 7 frames difference. Doesn't matter if you count or not. Well, you shouldn't really care that much over a few seconds. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this exposure amount to 1, so it's brighter. This is what it does. It makes it brighter. It kind of looks nice. You could make it even brighter if you want, but you can't make it too bright, or else it's gonna make things even worse. So now what you do, F9 them, or you can right click, keyframe them, whatever. And it's gonna be the same idea, build up graph. Zoom in to make it like so you could actually see them. And you gotta make them so that this really has no movement at all. You just gotta make sure they could see a frame of exposure going down. And yeah, let me just make sure that's done real quick. Alright, yeah. And it's the same thing over and over. Copying your keyframes. You would have to do that and then drag them over. You could just copy the same keyframes over and over again. That's what a lot of people do. And yeah, that's one effect you could use. Another one you could use to add on to that is well, if you have BCC, it would be BCC Lens Blur OBS, but there's an Adobe option built in. So I'm gonna just search a blur, look through real quick. Oh, it's just called camera lens blur. You could use that as well. I'm gonna just use BCC lens blur. It's basically the same exact thing. So default settings, it should have some blur on there. But what you want to do is go to your iris scale, set the amount to 0, and do the same exact thing as the exposure. Make a keyframe right here, make a keyframe right here. Find how much you want it to blur by. Make it 5. Highlight them, F9 them, and copy the graph over. Boom, boom, and boom, boom, and yeah, and that's a blur one basically done. I'm actually like so you can have some type of like not build out, but we could actually see the blur actually decrease on this. And I'm gonna just do the same thing again, copy the keyframes over and over and over, and be unoriginal, because that's all you gotta be sometimes, unoriginal. And yeah, that's just 2 basic effects done. And you could continue using that over and over on everything else. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find different effects to show you guys, and I'm gonna actually think this through, because I don't know what other effects I should use yet. So give me like a few minutes. Obviously it'll be sped up, and yeah, I'll show you what I've done, and I'll tell you the effects that I use on the way for impact specifically. Alright, so the effects that I chose to use instead of exposure and BCC, I chose with the common one called Minimax. I didn't really overuse it that much because I'm not really a huge fan of Minimax that much. I use this thing called Warp, Uni.Heatwave, Optics Compensation, and that was pretty much it. And then I just combined the other ones. Obviously the render time is going to be a little bit longer, so I can't really show it to you. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new composition for my CC, and yeah, and it's just going to be the same exact settings as the old ones. So go into your project, grab comp1 or whatever you have it named as, drag it right here, you can make a new adjustment layer by pressing Control Alt Y, and you could add whatever you want on there. I'm gonna add this one thing called film convert nitrate. Doesn't matter. You could, it's like its own little thing. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add we'll go through the files, whichever one I like. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add a tiny hint of exposure up. I'm gonna put the temperature for a little bit on the blue side, and I'm gonna bring the tint down just a little bit. And this is just the film size. Keep it on 35 millimeters. This is just the grain response. You can change it to whatever you like. It doesn't matter. Now for the color correction, under your shadows, what you want to do is just bring it up just a hint to whatever color you like. I'm gonna go for like a little bit in the middle, because if you bring it all the way up, then it looks weird, because it's just gonna be overly blue. So you just want to do a little bit of a hint. So that looks fine. Then for the highlights, you could do whatever you want. If you do red all the way up, like you could see the differences when you change whatever. So the ground is gonna be more blue. So I'm gonna just make it like kind of high in its amount. And then for the midtones, this is what matters as well, because this affects the whole thing. So again, you want to just change it by a little bit. So I'm just gonna go cyan and bring it up, or I'll just figure out what looks right for me. So that's fine. Curves, I don't really know how to use that much, so I can't really explain it to you. And saturation obviously makes it more saturated. The more saturated it is, the weirder it's gonna look. Or the less saturated it is, then the grayer is gonna look. So I'm gonna keep it in the middle. And this is what I do for film convert. Now what I do is I add flicker, sapphire flicker. I keep the settings on its normal. I'm gonna add sapphire glow. It's gonna be overly bright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the brightness down and then the threshold up, so it's not as bright. And if I want to add just a little bit more glow, I'm gonna add glints, and it's the same exact idea. Keep the threshold up, but the amount of the brightness low. So I'm just gonna do 0.1, and I'm just gonna put the threshold to maybe about like 0.85. And yeah, this is just a basic CC. Some you could do, and yeah. And obviously, I'm gonna go back into comp 1 because I want to add a quick logo or whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all my layers, and I'm gonna move them to the left just like a little bit. And I'm actually just gonna delete this right here, and I'm gonna play back. Cool. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add my logo. I'm gonna use the Start Cult logo, the group that I'm in. I'm gonna scale it down to around 10. I'm actually just gonna trim it right here. I'm gonna make a new adjustment layer, Control Alt Y. And I'm actually just gonna make it for like 2 frames. Like around here. And I'm gonna add fast box blur. And I'm gonna add offset. So offset, I'm gonna drag it to the right, like about here. And then for fast box blur, I'm gonna make it horizontal only, and I'm gonna bring it up around there. And I'm just gonna move it like that. And just like this, cut out for 1 frame. And boom, there you go. It's kind of like a smooth. Actually, you could just keep it like the adjustment layer towards the start, and then on the logo, just keep it the same. And if I want to add a transition, I could just do my 1 framers in my CC. So let's go to our CC. This is how my CC looks. Looks simple, fine. And I'm gonna actually do the same thing again back in my comp 1. And I'm gonna just copy or Control D to duplicate it, and I'm gonna move it to the end of my clip. And look, it's a one frame of, actually I gotta repeat the edge pixels, so press repeat edge pixels. And actually keep the blur up. Or, or bring the offset layer up, like that. Like just drag it up. And now, it's just gonna transition out on its own. I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna add a muffled audio preset. And there you go. And I'm just gonna move this thing right here, this little blue thing, right here, because this is where it ends, and we're good. Now we're just gonna add our one framers and overlays, whatever we want to add. So what you want to do is you just want to add another adjustment layer, Control Alt Y, bring it down, and figure out where the logo. So right here, boom. It's like I'm gonna make it 2 frames. Then I'm gonna add halftone actually. So halftone. Do this. So it's a nice transition. I'm actually make it for a bit longer. Do that. Yeah, I think this is fine. And I'm gonna actually swap the colors around. So it's like a nice little invert. And I'm gonna duplicate it. And then on the kill, I'm gonna go like, I'm gonna actually make a one framer right here. Just right about here. And make another one framer right here. And I'm gonna just find different effects to use. And I'll let you know what I use as well when I'm back. Alright, so I'm gonna play it back with the one framers and the effects. So here it is. Alright, so I'm gonna explain the stuff that I chose, like the one framers. Some of these are just random effects. This first one is a transition from the logo to the, I guess, the clip. I chose S_halftone, has little dots, looks cool. I like it a lot. You could choose 2 different colors. The next one I chose is the same thing. It's a copy and paste. S_halftone again. It's like directly on the kill, about there. Then the next one is kind of like the transition. This is just regular tint. The next one again is find edges. And I inverted it because if I invert it back, it's going to hurt your eyes. So that's that. The next one is a transition, or, well, this is just on the kill. I just chose 3 random effects. Got warp, S_glow, and color balance. Then the next one is a transition. This is just hollow matrix, and I changed the color on there under color brightness settings. And the next one is find edges with deep glow, and it's the same thing again, copy and paste, but this time it's with wave warp. And the next one is like the transition from here to where I get the kill. I added temporal blur and human saturation, but I put the saturation down, and I scaled it up a little bit with transform, which is in and out. And then this one is S_halftone, deep glow, find edges, edge glow, and VHS, but with tape damage off. Then the next one is tint. Oh, hold on, that's weird. Tint and tint. Then this one is just tint again. Let me just actually change this. This is supposed to be red. Just tint. And it's the same thing again. It's a copy and paste, tint, tint. And then the last one is a mix of a bunch of other things. Wave warp, sapphire distort, sharpen, deep glow, star glow, and tint. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the next thing I'm gonna add, well, and the final thing, well, actually no, like the second to last thing is overlays, because that's what I like primarily using. And I'm just gonna go through that and I'll let you know, well, like the stuff that I use. Actually, I'm gonna import one right now just to show y'all. So I'm gonna go to my overlays folder. It's like in my After Effects area, and I'm gonna just choose a random one. Let me choose this one right here. And if you want to rescale things, if your shit is in 4K, transform fit to comp, and on press toggle switches / modes on the bottom if you don't see mode, this and this. If you do already, then it doesn't really matter, but you want to press normal, and you could choose literally whatever you want. I'm gonna choose screen, and I'll show you how it looks. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna play it back now with the overlays and show you how it's done, or how I did it. Alright, now the last thing that I want to do before exporting is go into comp 1, and on right here on this box right here, double click on it, and the logo should be, well, this type of thing should be right here. And then same with the with the rest of your clips, you want to enable it. And now the last thing, the final thing you want to do, new composition, call it render. Change the duration to however you want to end it. I'm gonna do 14 seconds because that's roughly where it is. And I'm gonna put the last composition right here, and let me just make sure where it ends. Right here. And I'm gonna add RSMB, put my own RSMB settings on there, and then I'm just gonna render it out using media encoder, and that's literally it. So I'm gonna press file, export. Actually, wait, let me save this real quick because I didn't save it at all. Practice, edit, export, add to media encoder queue, and just wait for media encoder pop up. Alright, now once you have your media encoder open, if you press your preset, it should say like H.26. I don't know what it says over here, but click on it. And then what you could do is you could copy your settings. You click this check mark or whatever. 4K settings is like, hold on, I gotta look at my preset for it. So FiveM 4K. So look, this is how big 4K is, 3840 by 2160. You could change your frame rate to 24. Go down. Your profile should be high and the level should be 5.2. And then your bit rate, change it to CBR and change it to whatever you want. It doesn't matter how you do it, like, or whatever. You could change it however, like how you want it to be, because that's how big the file is gonna be. But I'm gonna do 1080 just for the sake of just to edit it faster or whatever. So, and I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger. And then once you press OK, actually hold on, I lied. Right here, there's a save preset button, so you can save it as a preset, do whatever you want with it. Press OK, and then for your output file, you direct it to wherever you want it to be. So I put it in my intros folder, even though it's a montage or edit. Press save, and then now all you gotta do is press the check mark. And I'm pretty sure I already put the edit at the start, but I'm gonna show it in like 5 seconds once that renders out. And yeah, that's literally all you need to do. Alright, so that was pretty much it for the video. It's exported out, saw it on screen. It was nice, looked nice. hopefully you learned something for it. All you ads FiveM editors that are editing already, you could learn something from this. And if you want to switch After Effects, I definitely would. It's good, it's nice. Um, get this to like 20 likes or something. I don't know. I'll make a new one, and I don't know. I'll figure out something to do. Maybe a new intro video. I don't know. Your choice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a good day, and bye.